Shelves filled to the brim with crime novels featuring the supposedly stalwart.
Of course. Such violence and immorality. I mean, enjoy.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not move.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when...
In your hand, you hold Dick Mullen and the mistaken identity. The brittle paperback feels fragile to the touch. The cover features a pastiche of different scenes. In the foreground, a man in a dark overcoat clutches a pistol to his chest. Rising up behind him are two silhouettes wrapped. The tagline reads, "Detective Dick Mullen must prove his innocence after an old friend is murdered by someone who looks just like Dick Mullen." That seems to sum up the premise nicely.
Are you really reading that, detective? Good luck finding it. He's not much of a character, I think you'll find. Just a stand-in for the reader.
The point is for the reader to feel like they're solving the crime along with Dick Mullen. A crude narrative convention, but no less effective for it. The story opens with a knock at the door. Detective Dick Mullen is greeted by an old friend, Charlie Spillane, who's come to Mullen to ask a favor on this dark and cold night. Spillane needs Mullen to drive him in from Vespa to a small town along the Insulindian coast. Despite his friend's apparent agitation, Mullen does as he's asked, then returns home where he passes out drunk, as he does most nights. Two days later, Mullen is arrested by the Vespa police and charged with the murder of Charlie Spillane. At his interrogation, Mullen learns that Charlie Spillane was shot in a bar in the very town Mullen dropped him off in by a man matching Mullen's description. Desperate to clear his name, Mullen manages to convince the Vespa police to release him for 3 days so that Mullen may solve his friend's murder and prove his innocence.
What's the matter, detective?
The lieutenant shrugs, resigned to the idea that his profession will rarely, if ever, be accurately represented. Of course, Mullen didn't do it. That's the whole premise of the book. Anyway, Mullen returns to the seaside bar where Spillane was murdered and meets a beautiful, mysterious woman named Diana Deneva. And not just any dame. She's truly one in a million, a knockout whose mind is as dangerous as her curves. But she's got a secret. She's any man's kind of woman, according to this book.
Are you sure about that? Something about her gives you a bad feeling. What kind of secret is she hiding?
You couldn't handle a woman like that. Look at yourself. You couldn't even handle your... Stop. Don't say it. Nothing. Forget it. Go back to your story. Deneuve reveals that she was Spillane's lover and that he was mixed up with a local amphetamine smuggling operation. As soon as Mullin begins pulling at strings, the whole conspiracy begins to unravel. Not only is the local police captain in on the amphetamine ring, so is the son of a powerful politician and a strung-out art collector named Torvald, each of whom has his own reasons for wanting Spillane dead. Outwardly, the old police captain is a real law and order crypto-fascist, a barrel-chested man who's beaten his share of suspects to pulp. But he's also dirty and increasingly paranoid that someone's going to expose his role in the drug ring. He would certainly have the motive and the means, but the captain walks with a noticeable limp from an old war injury. Is it possible that he was able to conceal it long enough to commit the murder? A typical privileged twat. In all likelihood, he's just in over his head. He does bear a personal grudge against Spillane, though, a former prosecutor who nearly brought down his father's administration. The kid doesn't exactly have Dick Mullen's manly build, but he is the correct height, and while interrogating him at his home, Mullen did notice a certain overcoat that looks suspiciously like his own. Torvald, the art collector, is a strung-out mess. Frankly, it's hard to imagine him holding a pistol steady enough to actually hit someone, let alone plug them 3 times in the chest the way Spillane got did. That said, Torvald and Spillane have a long history, and while interrogating him, Mullen discovers that Torvald was once involved with Diana Deneuve. Could it be that this is all over a sordid love triangle? One evening, Diana Deneuve comes to Mullen's hostel room in tears. The two of them drink half a bottle of vodka, and soon they're seeking comfort in each other's arms. Yes, comfort and pleasure. The warmth of another human's touch. The burning taste of liquor on her full, sweet lips. As the two lovers share a post-coital cigarette, Diana Deneuve turns to Mullen and says, "By the way, Dick, there was something else I meant to tell you." Always aim for the center of mass. Whatever it is, Mullen never hears the words. A blow to the base of his skull knocks him out cold instantly. When Mullen comes to, Deneuve is dead on the hostel bed next to him. To make matters worse, his clothes are covered with her blood. Mullen trashes his blood-stained clothes and flees the hostel, knowing it's only a matter of hours before the cops discover Deneuve's body, if they haven't been tipped off already. The heat is on. If Dick Mullen can't solve both murders before the cops catch up to him, he's going away for life. Can you solve the case before the cops close in? What is it, detective? There was never a time when he wasn't a detective. He was born a detective. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book for what it is. A collection of brittle, cheaply printed pages held together by glue made from the hooves of horses. From nowhere, you hear the screech of sneakers on a waxed floor, and you feel the burn of rope against your hands. Are these figments of some other life? You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. There was never a time when Dick Mullen was made to crack skulls and solve cases. It's who he is. He could no more stop being a detective than a tiger could cease to be a predator in the night. For a moment, you cease to read the story on the page and see the book. From nowhere, you hear the screech of sneakers on a waxed floor. You won't find the answers you're looking for here, in other words. It's a dangerous line of work, but somebody has to do it. That's why Dick Mullen never lets anyone get too close. Is it really so evil, detective? Like what? Do you even have those? Did you lose them, or did they leave you? Do you even know that? But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed and discarded. Is it really so evil, detective? Then why are you still here? What are you trying to prove exactly? But then, what does this book know? It's just a poorly made piece of pulp garbage made to be consumed. So, who did it, detective? Who killed Charlie Spillane and Deanna Deneuve? Could be. Who knows? Only one way to find out. You begin furiously flipping through pages. Even as you know these books follow a series of well-worn tropes, you find yourself completely engrossed. You're turning pages so fast, you don't even notice the ancient spine. You try to grab the pages as they come loose, but your fingers aren't quick enough. They're gone. Dozens of pages scatter across the ground. The last fifth or so of the book seems to have been lost. It's possible that you could gather and reassemble the pages, but it would take way too long.
Ah, yes. The problem with mass-market paperbacks. They are not made to last. Perhaps this is a sign that you should get back to solving your own murder, huh, detective?
In your hand, you hold 4/5 of Dika Mallena and the mistaken identity. Why? There's truly no point. You'll never know who did it, because those pages have literally been scattered to the wind. In your hand, you hold 4/5 of... The trash container stands in the smell of rotten food rises to greet you. You see soggy cartons, dirty rags, and organic waste. Not much to see here anymore. Just a book. There's nothing more of interest in this. You see milk and egg rest with one broken egg in it. Some pasta wrapper. Picking up the soggy packages somehow feels familiar. You've done this before. The movements are recorded in your elbows, the methodology in your fingers. You're used to this. No, searching for evidence in the trash. A box falls into pieces in your hands. Batiste Soleil cereal. There are plastic pasta packages below, and turbo noodles. Nothing of note, however. The container sounds a muffled gong.
Fuck, does Kuno care? The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Doc Kuno doesn't...
Oh, hello, dear. There you are again.
You're an enthusiastic idiot, but you're still an idiot.
We don't have time for Cryptozoology 101. Let's get...
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers. The There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
Yes?